Welcome to tonight's rabbit hole. I have with me Canuck, our resident triple decker brain. Is my brother. I love him and I appreciate him. Tonight we're going to talk about an event that took place uh, 4,000 years ago, and again about not too long ago, maybe 700 years ago, and the repeat of that, and what's happening across the Mediterranean right now. And is it a sign that it is going to happen again? Remember, we just had a Kamchatka 8.8, and that destructive event is still going on. 400 miles of earthquakes, a small tsunami, a 2 meter tsunami that traveled all across the Pacific Ocean. Also, a movement of a 2 meter on the edge of the southern edge of Kamchatka moved west 2 meters, and that's a hell of a lot of movement for a piece of land. And we're gonna try to see what's going on with that. If there is anything else that's happening right now to explain what's happening about this amazing area of the Mediterranean and the fires, the earthquakes, the swarm of earthquakes that's going on, and a couple of huge events, mid fives and fours, that's happening in Italy and Greece and Crete and now Turkey. So, are they related? Are they related to the 7 and the 8 that happened a couple of years ago? Gotta wonder. Well, these are all the discussions we're going to talk about tonight. So hang in, and hopefully you'll be entertained, and we'll give you a little information that might help you understand what's going on. Good evening, Canuck. How are you? I see you're wearing your first place team hat there.
Yep.
I'm not wearing mine right now because we're in like fourth place, about 9 games out. But Trout's having too much trouble, so he's not doing well.
And I have my ancient Blue Jay shirt from 92, 93 on.
Oh, the 92, 93 Birds. Well, all right. So
That I'm
that's
using for painting because it's falling apart, but it still exists.
yeah. Let me get the link for those people over on Twitch. Since how we just went live over here on Rumble and on YouTube. So content live. We're live, baby. We're live. Streaming an event right here. All right. Let me copy that link. Let me put it over here. And there we go. Now, bam. There we go. For those people over on twitch.tv/Joe Slick Live, that's the link for you. And if you're on the Rumble, then you already know. So, but anyway, lots of people are talking about massive volcanoes going off. Last couple of weeks, we've had people talk about, was it not Toba, but down there in Indonesia. And I had to speak to that a little bit. But also, we were talking about what's going on in Kamchatka, the several volcanoes that are exploding, and the volcanoes that are popping off in Indonesia, in near the Timor Sea, and the Sunda and the Java trenches that are going off. Also, we've been watching lately about the threat of the Ryukyu Trench, better known as the Nankai Trough, after the 8.8 that happened up in Kamchatka. But since then, things have kind of calmed down, other than the couple of volcanoes acting up. The Mediterranean seems to be the hot ticket. I thought it was going to be Chile, but it's not. Right now, we're watching Turkey swarm like I've rarely ever see a swarm like this. I'm sure there's well over 20,000 earthquakes, ones all the way to fours, maybe even a five, um, in Turkey. But also, we had a couple of bangers in Crete, didn't we? And then we've had um, a new, uh, I don't know, it's what do you call it? In Etna, it's kind of sprung a leak down on its side where magma's shooting out the side. And we've got Campi Flegrei or Vesuvius acting up. And that's one's been doing that longer than any of the other ones we've been talking about. We also had the Miramar 7.7 that hit, and that's kind of, along the path. But you found an article today, and I found an article today. Mine's a little bit older. Yours is newer. In regards to Campi Flegrei. But let me see, share this tab instead. Let me show people here on the map. Here's Turkey right here in the middle of your screen. And we have where it says 37 there in the Calypso Trench. That follows all the way around to where he gets to Italy. And then there's a subduction zone there. And then there's a spreading ridge and a compression. Then a continues doing the subduction. And then there's a compressional convergent boundary that continues on up through North Africa and all the way out. What leads into Turkey from India here is a compressional component, right? That's what the purple is, continental oceanic convergent boundary. The green one is the transform fault, right? And then the red is a spreading ridge, right? So the transform is strike slip, and the purple is compressional component. So we have a lot of compressional components through Iranistan up into Turkey, and then on the other side of Saudi Arabia, it's all spreading ridge, means it's growing rather than contracting, and it seems like everything is going due north on these numbers here, but everything in the north is going due south, so it's all compressional, and it's banging right here in the Anatolia area. That's Turkey. And we have spreadings in through here, and some strike slips where the greens are, strike slip zones. The major earthquakes we had in Turkey here, 2 years ago, was it? That hit on both compressional and a strike slip. So that's kind of interesting to me that something broke and in it, radical spread. Looks like, what is this? That's not Israel. Israel has got it's kind of a compressional component as well as a strike slip. So that's kind of interesting to me. And trying to figure out, why is this thing, the western part of Turkey, banging away like, crazy, man? Have you heard anything on your end of things? What is it, EMSC? That would suggest that something's going on in Turkey?
Yeah. So there's all sorts of crazy stuff in Turkey. Because you just had the quake there, whatever it was, 6.2 or
right.
6.1.
You can see Western Turkey, Western Turkey, Western Turkey, Western Turkey, Western Turkey for days.
And that's where the swarm is.
Western Turkey, Western Turkey, Western Turkey, Western Turkey, and the Diakonese as well, as I show you on screen here. And zooming in, right here is the swarm. I mean, it's completely just going ape turd. I suppose we can probably try to locate a a fault system to help us determine where that is.
Yeah, I looked it up before, but I don't remember the name of the fault. Because there's a whole bunch there in the center that come across.
Right. They're east-west, am I correct?
Yeah, because they go right by Ankara too, the capital, where Erdogan has his palace, all that stuff.
All right. View the publication.
Because I looked it up before, I'd have to look it up again because I was trying to figure out what fault lines are near to the central part of Turkey and how they come across. But they're east-west, just like the other ones, because Turkey Anatolia plate is actually moving towards Greece.
Yeah, I've got some maps, but they're not real clear what the name of it.
What I had to do,
WEAKP.
I think I had to look up the place names.
Western Anatolia Extensional Province. That's what's in the center.
Yeah.
View the. I don't know if it'll let me look if it's free.
Because I did this before the 6.1 happened, so this was back like probably a month or two ago. Because I was trying to figure out any fault lines that were near the cities in the center.
Right, because there was a 5 and I think there was a 6, wasn't there, in that region?
Like farther towards like where Ankara is.
Okay.
And so I started looking up like the history of quakes in the central part, and I had to go look at like each city name, and then I had to like faults by such a city. And then when I started doing that, I started getting maps for like a particular area around the city, and then I could see all the fault lines that were coming across.
Yeah, it's the Western and Anatolian Extensional Province. That's what's going off right here. There's a number 4 right here on this. So you can see the motion of the plate, how it's going due east or west, east, depending on where you're looking at. And then south.
It's having all the wildfires in Turkey too.
Right. Now that's what I want to talk to you as well, because we're going to look at this little map here and say, okay, right here about where the 4 is, that's where all these quakes are happening between the 1 and the 4. So we kind of know the gist. It's moving west, and then as you get closer to the Dakinis, then and the Aegean, it moves almost due south. And then it encounters the African plate, which is going due north, as the Arabian plate to the east is going due north. Then Eastern Anatolian fracture zone is way out there. The main earthquakes happened right here on the Eastern Anatolian fault. What was it, a couple of 7s, or was it 7 and an 8 that happened in 22 or something like that?
Early 2023. Yeah.
Was it early 20? Okay. So major action here.
If you read about the stuff now, they think it's coming across there at the bottom.
From the south? Coming across here.
Across from where the big quakes were in 2023. So it's coming across by Cyprus and coming across into Crete.
Yeah, we saw in the Dakinis, we saw a swarm happen prior to the big quakes. And that thing blew up real big. And then we had
because I think there's been 3 Crete this year that are around.
Yeah, Crete's been coming up quite a bit,
and it's all on that eastern end of Crete. And if you line it up with the 6.1 that just happened in the Istanbul quake, they're like a north to south line.
Yeah, there's this line right through here. Yeah,
right from the top of the plate down to the bottom. So what I think it's getting ready to do is move
dramatically.
Well, it's moving towards Greece, so I think
correct. Athens is in trouble, which Athens is right here. So we'll have to look up Athens history.
And they've been getting a bunch of 2s and 3s all around Athens. Plus the fires that have been burning into the city, same as like what it did in Izmir.
Right. I'm going to ask you about the fires in a minute. So basically, what we've seen over the last couple of years is the Diaconus, where that arrow is, that looks due south, that erupted or broke, and then we have over here on the eastern side two major quakes that took place and did a massive damage. And then recently, I'm going to say relatively recently, this year, we've had some wake-up calls right up in here in the western Anatolian province here, earthquake province here. Not so much at the top. I think we've had only one at the top, but it seems that, and we're hearing more of the Diaconus again. We had the Santorini wake-up call that nothing happened, which is great. We don't need to go, kaboom again. Santorini is an island out there in the middle of the Aegean that, had some really bad earthquakes and a swarm that scared the hell out of a lot of people.
Yeah.
And that happened.
And I'm going to give you more reasons why I think Athens is going to go.
Okay.
Because I think it's repeating 1999.
Right.
And I'll explain that later. Okay.
I just wanted to give a kind of a little background of what's been happening over the last 5 years. 1999 is, 26 years ago. In geologic time, that's not a whole lot. I don't know what the hell is going on. I don't know if that's...
And I didn't realize what happened in 99, but I put it all together now because we did the North Anatolian fault history.
Yeah, we did.
So I didn't realize that Izmit, right next to Istanbul, went off in 99, and like a couple weeks later, Athens got their biggest quake in the last 30 years.
Okay, but, Athens, yeah. Macedonia's been popping a little bit too.
Yeah.
All right,
and I'm going to explain what was going on in 1999 because there was massive wildfires burning into Athens.
We've had wildfires in the last couple of years. Yeah.
Yeah, but not burning into the city.
What was it last year? It came pretty close, right?
Yeah, but this year.
Yeah, because we had somebody over there that was quite worried about that. Forget that guy's name. He had a Greek name, didn't he?
Yeah.
Do you remember what his name was?
Yeah, that's when I first started looking up the wildfire. So I was talking to him about it because that was 1999. That was before.
Again, what was his name?
Oh, I can't remember
now. No. I think about him often because we're always researching this area. He's a wealth of knowledge. I wish he would have stayed with us a little longer and help us understand this whole area. Out of sight, out of mind. But I know you and we've done a couple of rabbit holes on this whole entire area over the last couple of years because of all the activity. Tsunamis have hit and earthquakes have hit in this whole region. And throughout history, that's happened. We can look at the Gia and look for probably Turkey, right? There's Lebanon in 1063, Jordan at 1033. What we said, what was it, 1538 too, right?
Yeah,
that was a major one.
It probably would have been acting up a year or two before that.
Right. All right.
If so it was. Well, they have a big quake in Turkey in 1509. That's the only one I see.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, 1509 was Istanbul.
1509 was Istanbul?
Yeah. So Istanbul went on 1509, it says.
Yeah, that's the Anatolian fault. Yeah, let's look at it. Let's look at this.
So that would have been 29 years.
That's a 7.1 to a 7.4. A lot of people written on this subject.
In 1537, the Ottomans were attacking. So Suleiman was attacking the Balkans.
The Balkans?
Yeah, so Croatia and all those places.
Mm.
Yeah, because when I looked it up here, when I looked up that quake, it gave me all the stuff that was happening with Turkey in the 1500s. So that's the year before. 1537 would have been the year before Camp Flegrei had its last blowout. So that's pretty interesting. So Suleiman was going crazy as the Ottoman Empire expanding stuff out
Right.
at that time.
Okay, so I have the European quake catalog from 1000 to 1899. Wow.
Yeah, that's the Gia one, yeah.
Yeah.
And it has in 1538 and 39 for the big quakes on it. It has one off Honduras, which we just had.
Right.
And then one in Guatemala.
I see the Guatemala 1526, Peru 1513. Just so everybody is understanding, this is becoming more and more of a way to study events that are happening today by looking into the past, what's happened before, and try to see, what elements, whatever they are, whether it be electromagnetic or whether they be actual earthquakes or volcanic events or storms or fires, things that are beyond human. And in doing so, we can kind of see what happens. More and more scientists are starting to look in the past and go, earthquakes don't happen in a vacuum. They happen for a reason. There are several reasons, and there's several kinds of earthquakes. And to try to determine whether or not an earthquake is happening, or the likelihood of an earthquake, we have to take an educated guess. So the idea of forecasting, I don't see it. We can say this is a place of interest. This is a place of not alarm, but kind of like, okay, this is an area of watch, a place of interest where likelihood in the next few years, this thing could happen. I mean, few years meaning 1 to 2 years is where both Canuck and myself kind of look at. So when you hear us say, a little bit of short time, we're not saying 2 weeks. It could happen in 2 weeks, but we're watching about, a 2-year period. And there's a couple of areas we're watching.
You don't know, but maybe there was a big quake in Kamchatka in 1538 too, or 1537.
Right, because there's nobody out there to record it, right?
Yeah, at that time, the Russians hadn't expanded there yet.
Yeah, the Chinese had been, but because of the cold spells, they can't survive there.
Because the Russians never got. I think it was.
Well, Kyoto happened in 1520.
They were coming across into Alaska,
right,
via the Aleutian Islands. So that's why we know about 1737 Kamchatka quake.
Right.
Because they would have been leaving Kamchatka to come across into the Aleutians and eventually to Kodiak Island in.
Right. I found a turkey in 1344. So that's a couple hundred years prior. And that was a mid-6 on that same. And in 1363, that's in the north sector, and that's a 6.9 to a 7. So, I mean, all these things have happened, And yeah, Japan, obviously, obviously this one here in Nashapur, I think that's what Eastern Turkey even.
Well, yeah, and we know there's big quakes in Japan and Nankai Trough, I think 1605.
Right.
I think. So see, we're getting in. Once we get to the end there, we're getting pretty close.
Right. And even if you go into, 1509 Istanbul, 1526, we got Guatemala and Nicaragua, which again, those things have happened recent in our minds. We're not always looking for huge quakes, okay, everybody? We're looking for significant quakes that reoccur. Let's say it happens here. And then we'll look around the world and say, what else is happening?
Well, the ones that
we'll hear these other ones.
Yeah, this GEA list would be notable ones.
Right. Yeah, these are notable ones. But what we're seeing is what's happening today. Maybe you get a 5 instead of a 7 or an 8. You get a 6. So what we're seeing is when this area goes pop, this area goes pop, and that area goes pop, and that area goes pop. And you don't have to have an 8 to show a 7 or a 7 and a 7. What you can have is a 6 and a 5 and a 5 and a 4. So you can extrapolate it down in magnitude to see,
and we're monitoring it better now, so we can see. But Correct. It's still the same areas acting up, right?
Correct. And these reoccurrences of sequences, that's kind of what we're seeing. We're seeing a sequence of earthquakes that traverse over time and that repeat the same sequence. Different magnitudes, different intensities, sometimes the same. Sometimes it could be lower in the frequency and then come back at a very strong one. And that's kind of what we're trying to get at with talking about Turkey right now. And its relationship to the world itself. If you get stuck just in one area, you don't really see the magnitude of what's going on, and you tend to overemphasize an area that is shouldn't be overemphasized. So because what you put blinders on, and what we're doing is we're trying to take off the blinders and go, hey, what about that? What about that? And what about that? And then can we see these kinds of things happening in other years when there's been a notable quake at this spot? And that's kind of what we're doing. And it allows us to say through guesswork, basically educated guessing, this is a repeat. These events happened and bang, that'll go off. We've seen it happen over and over and over and over and over again. So for us, it's real easy to take that step or that leap of faith saying, hey, Kamchatka went off, right? Hokkaido is, in the next couple of years, Hokkaido is going to go big. And then the Nankai Trough is going to go big. It may be the northern half, it may be the southern half. We don't know. It went big in the 40s and I think the 50s as well, right? So that's the 1900s, by the way, the 20s. But that's kind of our approach at these things. And we want to bring it to your attention.
The more recent it is, basically. Right. Even with wildfires, because I was trying to find out if they had any record of wildfires in Turkey and Greece going back into the 1700s, 1600s, and 1500s.
Mm-hmm.
But not really.
You didn't find anything?
No. When I started looking into it, they said they didn't really. Whoever was in power at that time, they focused more on earthquakes. They weren't really concerned, I guess, with wildfires as much, even though there was wildfires happening. They think, but they weren't writing all that information down for whatever reason. They're more concerned about earthquakes and whatever, I guess, back then.
Right.
But I suppose the places wouldn't be as big either, right? So there probably was wildfires, but they were out in the countryside and they didn't burn up as much. Looking today
at the global file. Share this tab instead. This is from Firms. All right. So let me see if I can zoom in for you here. I'm not seeing a whole lot on Firms in this area.
No, because I think they've got more rain there lately since they've had the earthquake. But if you go back a month or two, they were getting crazy fires. Like their fire season goes from
yeah, 3NC. Thank you, Susan.
Yeah, from June all the way through September, October. So it's like similar to ours.
Right. Yeah, they do. They get these major fires right now. Massive fires have happened throughout Italy and Turkey. I remember back in when this area was burning.
Like either side of the Mediterranean or either side of the Aegean and along the Mediterranean, basically.
Right. We do
but
have.
The farther you go inland in Turkey, not so much. Like once you get over more to the eastern side of Turkey, is less.
Let's see what's going on here. These look like areas of they're not fires. Firms is not showing. Okay, and I'm gonna go 7 days. How's 7 days look? Up in Greece looks like
crazy there with fires back in July.
Okay.
So a little bit before the quake happened.
Okay. Well, that's okay too.
I remember since then there was big flooding in Ankara, where Erdogan was, because he had to fly out of there or something because the whole place was flooding.
You're talking over in Syria?
No, in Turkey, in the central part.
Oh, Erdogan had to bail out?
Yeah, he had to get out of there because I saw pictures of it because it was like flash flooding, going right crazy, pouring rain. So he had to.
Well, he should leave. He should leave God's people alone, then, shouldn't he?
Yeah.
I'll tell you.
It happened right after he did one of his speeches that he always does.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes he's got to learn, you know.
And they've been worried if there's going to be a big quake in central Turkey now on all those faults.
Right. Well, right in here's our area. In the last 7 days, I have on screen a lot of hot spots. I don't have a satellite image other than this on Firms.
Because Turkey's doing the individual fault studies just like what everybody else is. So when I started looking into all those different, I picked like all the cities that were in the middle, and then I tried looking up faults next to each one. So then once I got the name of the fault, then I just said, well, I want the latest fault study on this, and I can find articles. And I can't remember what all the fault names are now because they're all like crazy Turkish names. But so I started looking each one up, and then it was basically saying, oh, this one can have a mid-6, this one they think can have a mid-7. So that's why they're worried, because now they've been studying all those faults in the central part, and they're probably not quite as dangerous as the North Anatolian Fault and the East Anatolian Fault, but now they found out that they've had bigger quakes on them in the past, and they're right next to like the cities in the middle in Turkey, like Ankara and a bunch of the other ones. The ones that got hit with 6.1 a week ago, there's 2 cities there that are close together, and they got funny names. I can't remember them now. But,
yeah. All right.
What got hit with a 6.1, and they haven't got hit in that spot for quite a while, I think. But all the buildings, like even at 6.1, it did quite a bit of damage. Like when you actually read about the quake there that happened like a week ago, I think it was August 10th or 9th.
Okay.
Because I went and found the thing and looked it up because I wanted to see what the damage was and what they were saying about it. But it's been swarming still.
Yeah, I mean it's completely. I'm going back until the 14th, and it's swarming. Almost every listing is Western Turkey, all the way back to August 14th. I can't count that high. It's so many earthquakes, and these are all on the EMSC. So
Yeah, because I did the Google AI search for it, so I'm just going to read it because it talks about
go
like
ahead, bud.
where they felt it and what happened and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll just read that part. A 6.1 magnitude earthquake struck Western Turkey on Sunday evening, August 10th, 2025, causing damage and one fatality. The earthquake, which hit Balakazar province with its epicenter near Sindergi, yeah, it's got a weird name, was felt as far away as Istanbul and even in parts of Bulgaria and Greece.
Wow, man, that's a pretty good quake.
Yeah, 16 buildings collapsed, including a 3-story building in Sindergi, where 4 people were rescued. At least 29 people were injured, and 1 person died after being rescued from the rubble.
Wow.
And the epicenter, it says, was 11 kilometers south-southwest of Bagadik, or Gadjich, because it's got the funny accent on the C at the end. Yeah. And 12 kilometers northwest of Sindergi at a depth of 10 kilometers.
Yeah, the damage is very significant as I look at pictures from Reuters. I mean, you got buildings collapsed everywhere. Well, I think
and
Turkey.
they listed the other cities it was felt in too. So I'm going to read that. The earthquake was felt in Istanbul, Izmir, Bursa, and even in parts of Bulgaria, Greece, and Cyprus. So see, Cyprus felt it too. So that's interesting.
Right.
Cyprus is on the bottom.
Well, we showed a link, and as we're looking at the NASA link, we saw that there's a connection right through here, central part of Turkey, down the east. The south of Turkey, central Turkey. And then you see these lines out here of these mountain lines. And these are all fault lines as well, everybody, that continue. And they all go right into Greece. It's just no 2 ways about it. As the Eurasian plate is riding up and over the African plate, which is right here, there's volcanics and the like in this area, especially right here. Santorini's right there. And man, there was a pretty good swarm of 5s and 6s, right? We never did get a big giant quake, but we got a ton of 5s. They thought for sure Santorini was going to erupt, and it didn't.
It's probably the same thing. Turkey smashing into Greece, so it's setting off and all the other stuff, because it did it before we had the Istanbul quake, right? And Istanbul's up at the top, Santorini's down at the bottom. So to me, it makes sense that all those areas would adjust with either a big quake or a swarm.
Yeah, convergence. Yeah.
And if it's doing like what I think it's doing right now, it's the same as 1999, because you had the big quake up by Izmit, which is a little bit east of Istanbul, where we just had the quake this year. And then you had all the stuff down at the bottom. So the whole thing is moving and smashing into Greece, which is why I think now I haven't gone and looked up every other single Athens quake going back in history, because they have them all listed. It's in the list of the Greece thing, and it has all the dates and years. I could probably go down through the list and then see what happened in Turkey 2 years previous and see if the same pattern repeats. But I bet it is. I haven't looked yet. And then you could go back through that list and then compare it to what's on GIA too, if they have all the, it'd be all the really big quakes on there. So you may not be getting 5s or 6s, but you'd be able to find out. Or I could take the list of Turkey quakes that we looked at before and compare it to the ones in Greece and see if Turkey's always acting up.
Well, that's what I'm trying to do now for you as you talk. Just continue. I'm trying to get that list for you.
I just haven't done it yet. I'm going. When I was doing this, I was looking up wildfires and everything too. So I could only, like, the wildfire data is really good in Europe, like since the 80s, basically.
Yeah, you have a 7.7 magnitude in 1956. We have a 7.5 in Lesbos Aegean Sea in 81, 7.2 in 53, 68. Yeah, see, I need a list of earthquakes in a wiki. Here we go.
Yeah. And the last time Athens had a notable shaker, like above 5, it was 5.3 in 2019, not long after Ridgecrest happened. So I thought,
yeah, Greece always seems to go off when California has troubles, right? Yeah, the last 5.5 was in Florinia or Western Macedonia, January 9th of 22.
Yeah.
That was up in Macedonia. The one before that was in 21 in October 12th, was a 6.4.
Yeah, and there was Eastern Anatolian
fault. And then there was Crete. Crete was in 21. September 27th was a 6. I don't know where Larissa is. I have to look that up, kind of.
Yeah, you got to figure out.
Capital largest city of Thessaly, our region of Greece. And in 21, I think we talked about that one when it happened. It was a 6.3 in March of 21. And then Thiva was a 5.1 in December of 20. And then also October 30th of 20 was a 7.0 near Samos.
Yeah, that October quake in
north of Patmos and Diakinis archipelago.
Yeah.
Western Turkey.
That was all after the Turkey Dodecanese quakes. So that's pretty interesting too.
Yeah, it looks like 2020 it was really stinking busy. 2019, you mentioned Ridgecrest. March 30th, it had a 5.4. And then July 19th, Athens went with a 5.3.
Yeah.
So that was right after Ridgecrest.
Yeah, because the 1999 Athens quake was 5.96. So that's the biggest one they've had in the last, 30 years.
Yeah, I think
the second biggest one was 2019 in Athens.
Yeah, that's the 2019 5.3. 7 people were injured. Northwest of Athens.
I believe there was fires that year too in 2019 because I remember looking that one up before.
Mm-hmm.
But when I looked at 1999, it was the same thing. Big fires burning into Athens, same as what it's doing, what it just did there.
Yeah, Delphi, it had in 2019 as well. That was the 30/30 or 3/30, so March 30th, before the Athens one. So Delphi went off at a 5.4 in that same year in 2019. And then later that year, the Aegean Sea, known as simply as Agylla, is a Greek island lying on the edge of the Aegean Sea between Crete and Peloponnese. And that's where the
so it adjusted from top to bottom.
Yeah.
On the Greece side. Man.
Yeah, in 2019 it went bang, 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 bang. Yeah. The latest quakes and it continued into 20.
What Turkey was doing in like 2018 and 17, which I don't remember.
Yeah, and so Turkey went as a result of what was happening in Athens side. Turkey went with a 7 or Samos in October 30th of 2020, and then Thiva did the 5.1 in 20, and then 21. Larissa, I don't know where the hell Larissa is. Larissa is the capital largest city in Thessaly. We talked about that one quite extensive. 6.3. Then Crete had the 6.
2021 in Dodecanese Turkey was right before the Croatia quake, which I found that pattern before that Croatia gets hit.
Yeah, and Crete had a couple of good ones in 21, a 6 and a 6.4. We talked extensively about that when that happened on live when it was going on. And Macedonia is the latest in 22, the 5.5. Other than that, the Diakinese, that thing quaked for months. And now here we are in central Turkey. Let me see if I can look up Turkey, Turky, and then AI. Boom.
I kind of know what else it was doing back then too, but I'd have to go digging more to find out how it came across.
Yeah, it looks like Antioch went a few times, way back, 1598, 1840. Okay, let me see. Wikipedia. Let's do this one. All right. So the latest, not the oldest, but the latest. We got August 10th of 25, right? The 6.1. June 3rd, there was a 5.8 off the coast. I don't know where this area is. In the country's southwestern corner. That's by the Diakinese. Istanbul happened in April 23rd. Now we made a big stink about that one when that happened. Was a 6.2 this year. Yeah. And then it goes all the way back to 23. So in 23, there was a 5.2 and a 6.4. And then February of 23, that's when we had the big ones, the 7.8 and the 7.7. Yeah. So large earthquakes in Turkey stopped in 23, and now that's picked up again in 25. We got a 6.2, a 5.8, and a 6.1 in Turkey alone.
So it takes a bit after the big ones before it starts ramping up again.
And if I just look at that, what was going on? There's October 11. Okay, October 11th. We have 5.8, a 7.2, a 5.6 in 2011. So that's happened. But in the same time, there was a break 2014, 2017, and 2019. So it's not set in stone.
Location, near south coast of Myanmar. Class, moderate. Magnitude, 5.2. Depth,
south coast of Myanmar.
Yeah, that's the Andaman Sea. Yeah. Yeah.
So there's north-south thing.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So this is where I'm looking at in Turkey here, and
and there's a new study on the Sagang Fault and the Myanmar 7.7, comparing it to the San Andreas, and they're saying that the San Andreas can do the same thing now. That just came out here the last week or so.
Well, the San Andreas is believed can pop 8s, but not much higher than that.
They think now, based upon because they've been comparing the Sagang Fault to San Andreas, I guess, plus what it did with this earthquake, and they're saying now that San Andreas can go 7.7 to 8.3, based upon how the Myanmar quake ruptured and how it went up, and how it smashed through the seismic gaps. Because in the study it talks about, like, they knew there was a seismic gap, but when this one happened, it went right through it and did a bunch of other ones, which made the rupture, whatever, super rupture, whatever they call it. So, and it went through like where the breaks are, like what the San Andreas has. So they think if the quake has built up enough thing, it can smash right through the bends, because that's what Myanmar did this last one, 7.7. And they know that it, in the study, it mentioned that it did the same thing in 1839, which was that Ava earthquake, it was called, which was basically in the same exact area as the one that just happened, 7.7. But they think that one was bigger because they have it listed as up to 8.3. And like it was felt the same way up into China and all the way down into Thailand, just like what the one we just had. So they talk about it in that study, talking about 1839, and it says that it has the capability to go 8.3, and based upon how it's orientated and with the bends, because there is some bends in the Sagang Fault, it's similar to the San Andreas. Because the people that did this were like, I can't remember if it was Caltech, and then there was people from Myanmar.
It's all compressional because India is going underneath the Tibetan Persia plain, Eurasia.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Like how
it's compressional, where two plates are coming over here. Two plates are coming and one's sliding up and over the other.
Yeah. Or one's the India plate going up against the Sunda plate.
Right. And then on the sides you have
Pacific North America.
On the sides you have strike slips that are going like this, but in the top you have where India is going underneath and driving up the Andes. Not Andes, but the Tibetan mountains.
Yeah.
Everest and all that.
So it's wild how it works.
And there has been some earthquakes recently up and along that compressional component over the last year. Strong earthquakes. Before the Myanmar
before
strike slip that took place. And if I showed you a screen, tectonic again, I'll show you this. I use this a lot, everybody, so just bear with me. You can see the purple, that's compressional component. Then you see a strike slip on the right, then compressional down here, then strike slip, and then the rest of it. This area here is right about where these two meet is where the 7.7 hit. And
so I think they're worried now that the San Andreas might bust through some of its previous.
Somebody's calling you. Is it kids?
I don't know where it's coming from.
Don't either. It's on your end.
None of my phones are going off. I got one's on the bed and the other one's here right beside the computer. So I don't know what it was.
I don't know where it's coming from, bud.
Well, it's on one of the other tabs I have open or something. But I don't know.
It sounds like it's going all on your area. Oh, do you have Twitch open on our site? That's what it sounds like. You have JSL.
I have it open, but it's muted.
Yeah, mine's muted too.
I don't know what crap, where it's coming from.
it's behind me.
Behind you.
I'll be right back. I'm like, where's that coming from?
What is there? A phone hiding somewhere in your studio? That's weird.
Apologize. The site just crashed over there.
Oh,
I'm
that's
like,
right.
hey, I don't have any things open. So I'm rebooting it.
It couldn't handle all the info again. It's too much.
Yeah, that's why I do this on the other computer now. We've had too many issues with them shutting us down on Twitch. It's almost like somebody is attacking the Twitch account. I don't know that that's happening. It's like, whatever, you know.
Yeah, it just gets overloaded with all the.
Yeah, you know. It just went kaput. I'm like, I don't know where all that stuff came from.
Handle the liquid pour pressure.
No, it couldn't handle it. It definitely could not handle it. Yeah, just absolutely freaking crazy.
Because that's what when I read the May study that you sent me, they were talking about liquid pour pressure and that, and saying it was from
right. And
rain seeping down into the ground. But I've heard that one.
Do you want to talk a little bit about what you mean by the fires? Because I think a lot of people may not understand what you mean by the fires.
Well, I think the fires, the majority of wildfires, have to do with faults. And
okay, why would you say that?
Because when I look up the locations of the fires, I can do it for anywhere. So it doesn't matter where it is, even here in my province. You can match them up with fault lines every time. So unless all of the
are you saying that the faults are creating the fires, or the fires are creating the faults?
I say
what is significant about the fires happening?
Are creating the fires.
Okay, faults are creating the fires.
That's why it always starts in like a ravine or a canyon, or always seems like that's what it does. Like every single one.
And does it ever happen in a flat area?
No, not really. When I look them up.
So let me get specific. Let me get a little more specific. Kind of glean from what you're saying. So you're saying that mainly thrust faults show evidence of fires are happening within a thrust fault.
Fault, because they're not all thrust faults.
Well, they happen in ravines, right? Generally, a ravine is created by a thrust fault. No,
not necessarily. It could be just
a normal fault.
A normal fault.
All right. Well, I don't understand. Well, maybe you can have a ravine with a normal fault.
Well, it depends on if it's like north-south or.
Well, a normal fault versus a strike slip fault or a compression fault or transform fault or a thrust fault.
Like northwest, southeast, or whatever. Mm-hmm. Like the ones that are here in my province and like Atlantic Canada are northeast to southwest. So you can actually see the fires burning along them either one way or the other, depending on which way the wind is blowing. And then I've been studying the massive 1825 Great Miramichi fire. Mm-hmm. And like where the big fire by Miramichi is almost in the same spot that it started in 1825. And I looked up 1825 and it burnt all the way from up by Miramichi, which is on the northeastern coast of New Brunswick. It burned all the way right down through where I am here, all the way down to Bangor, Maine, all in one day in October.
Well, it's kind of odd too that the fires that are happening in Canada follow the Great Lakes kind of line. You know, there's the Great Lakes, and then there's these other lakes. It's northwest to southeast.
That was felled in New Brunswick, so it was like offshore Newfoundland. In 1825, and I found out there was one in 1727 and then in 1929. So we usually get a 7 offshore Newfoundland every 100 years. So that means we're due for another one. And another thing interesting today, because I watched Just Icelandic's video before I came on here to look up all the the computer. He did one today, and the Met Office put out a warning for Reykjavik to expect a 6.5.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and the last time that happened, that they got a 6.5 was in 1929, and that was when the 7 happened off Newfoundland, and also there was a near 6 in Attica, New York.
Okay.
So all this stuff is tying together, and it just so
That means probably the Atlantic was going crazy. It's the Azores or the Rick James or the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. Something in the Atlantic was going crazy for those things to take place.
So it's not good when Reykjavik gets a big quake, and that's what they
No.
now. And when it does that, it basically the East Coast is in trouble. So and they think that it's going to be like he showed where it was in 1929. It was out by the big lake there, Lake Clayvarton, because he showed where it was in the video today. It was like a short video, but he said that the Met Office, this is the first time he knows that they've said that they're expecting like a 6.5 based upon how the current quakes are moving, like coming up Grindavik and all that, and saying that they expect probably a larger quake to happen in the vicinity of Reykjavik.
That's pretty crazy, dude.
And he went in and showed like where the epicenter was for the one in, I think it was in 1929. And he said there's hot springs there. So he showed where it was. And he said, so that when that quake happened, it created hot springs there next to the big lake, Lake Clayvarton. So he said before that, there wasn't hot springs there. So he said the quake created the hot springs.
Wow. So
he was given all this information that I didn't know about there today. So it's wild stuff. And he said there was another bigger quake. What year was that? 1968 near Reykjavik too, which I thought that was interesting because we've talked about 68 before, because that was Borrego Springs quake.
Right.
All the way down on the opposite side of the North America plate, right? San Jacinto.
Correct.
See, so it's like the whole opposite side over from. So I thought that was super interesting because I didn't know that there was a bigger. I forget what he said it was, like 6.1 or 6.2 or something in 1968, right next to Reykjavik. And he was showing like, because he had pictures from the 80s, you could actually see where whenever the last major eruption was in Reykjavik, you could see where the fissure lines were. But now they built all over them. He said you can't see them now because
it's hard to see. Yeah,
buildings and everything on them. So he was showing. Well, it was like a short video, but he had like a whole crapload of information in it. And of course, I started recognizing the dates because I looked them up before, right? So then I say, oh yeah, well this was due when this was due, and so basically we're due for on the East Coast another 7 right now, probably off Newfoundland somewhere. And another thing, when I dug into what was happening in Maine was having wildfires all that summer, right into October. But they went crazy in October, and it was super windy, and it created the firestorm. Because the Great Miramichi Fire started up in Miramichi, but it came all the way down way into Maine. So this was all in like 24 hours. And come to find out, they think there was a big hurricane going by off the coast, and it made northeast winds. And that brought the fire all the way from Miramichi right down through where I am and right into Maine. And it burnt like way down into Maine past Bangor. And it was like a big firestorm. Everybody had to go in the river or they would have got all burned up.
Yeah. Warning issued for Reykjavik due to the growing tension. 6.5 is possible.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
he just released that.
The warning, and he did this video based upon what the Met Office said.
Right.
And
that's pretty significant, man.
Yeah, he went back and compared like the historical stuff, because I guess he'd done in the previous video like a while ago. I don't remember watching that one, but because he said he talked about all these historical quakes before in a previous video years ago or something. So he went in and added them all up or brought all that information in again, and then talked about what it was based upon now, why they think it's. But if we get that, I'm afraid it's setting up for like bad East Coast stuff. And see where the hurricanes are always, how the hurricanes are coming now. It's not just Aaron. It's they're saying the other one or two after that are gonna
The same way as Aaron. Yeah.
come up and go by, but they're gonna make, because they're getting bigger as they come up and they make northeast winds.
Yeah. Did you see the size? How that thing blew up? Went to a 5, then right back down to a 4. But right now it's a 2.
It's like a gigantic nor'easter off the coast, but that's bad because if you have fires burning up here, as there is right now, and you get a northeast wind, it's going to blow them all down. Right. So we could have, like, I've been talking to other people that are here, and because I don't think they realize it, because we could have a repeat 1825 up here, and it wouldn't be too good because we got a shitload of woods up here. So it's not good.
Well, everything's burning in Canada, and it has to burn. It's the normal cyclical.
But it's usually not. We haven't had like this big stretch of hot, dry weather. It's what we've had like the last month or so, because the rivers here are all like way down to hardly anything. So it's not good. So it's super dry. So if we got a combination of a hurricane going by with big winds, same thing that happened to Tokyo and whatever year that was, 1923. And Kamchatka had a big quake that year too. And there was a typhoon going by, and it right when the big earthquake hit Tokyo, and it burned everything up afterwards because the firestorm. So the earthquake created the fires, and then the typhoon going by made the big winds that created the firestorm. We could have the same thing on the East Coast.
Yeah. Well, the Met Office is saying that Fort Finzigi is accumulating while faster subsidence is in Krasavik. So,
and I looked up other stuff that year in 1825, and then I looked up 1737. There was fires in New Jersey before the 1737 quake happened, and it was right after the big Kamchatka quake in 1737 too.
Okay, so playing devil's advocate with you, or just playing opposite a little bit. What is creating the fires?
Because I think it's the reactions that are in the fault where it's giving off heat or whatever up to a year or 2 years.
Okay, I got you there. Now, how do the fires start themselves? Is it gas? Is it rock like flint? You know how you chip flint? Or is it...
Well, when you read what they say now, all that reaction that's going on in the fault is creating gas and all sorts of other things. Now, you still need it to be dry if it's pouring rain or if there's snow.
So there's some other elements as well that is in play.
Yeah. And weather... And if you ask the firemen, the wildfire firefighters, especially here right now, they said when they're trying to put this out, they have to dig way down because it's burning underneath, way down where the
under the soil is burning down a little bit too. Yeah, it's like a gas coming right out of the earth.
It's not enough for them to put it out up on the top. They have to dig down in.
Right.
And why they use the bulldozers and all the heavy equipment.
Yeah, I've seen that too, where they said they've had to dig deeper because it's like the ground's on fire as well.
Yeah, and like when I first noticed this when the Nova Scotia fires a couple of years ago, and I started looking up where they all started and where they were, and it's all where the faults where they used to have the gold mining in back in the 1800s, I think it was.
Now, what does gold mining got to do with fires?
Because where the gold is, there's quartz. You find quartz and gold together.
Are they flammable?
Yeah, because this reaction that the faults do also has something to do with quartz. When I looked it up, and when I looked up all the fires in Quebec that was back 2 or 3 years ago too, I could see that they were all starting from the satellite in northeast to southwest lines because those are the faults.
Northwest to southeast.
Yeah, and then you look up where the mines are, and the mines were all on these same things that are in Quebec.
Right.
And then I looked up the fires in up at the top of Alberta, and I found out the faults there are going northeast to southwest.
So are you saying that mining, most of the mines are in fault zones?
Yes, because the faults create
So
everything.
let me ask you this. So they're drilling down into this fault to get material, that whether it be gold, silver,
Or they're
platinum,
digging
or whatever,
holes.
diamonds.
Yeah,
Okay, so
however
they're
that-
boring into it. So do you think that man is actually creating these fires by drilling into this and weakening
No,
the
because
fault, or releasing
the fire.
gas, or
we had the fires and the earthquakes there before we were doing any of this. And if you
Okay.
start studying the history of wildfire,
do you think the more man digs in the fault zones, the more fires that are increasing?
no, I don't think it makes it any difference because it's based upon
All
what
right.
the space weather is doing. So the space weather doesn't give a rat's ass what we're doing, unless
Well,
we have.
you're
like,
you're adding a new
million
complication, a new variable. Yeah, I got you. You're adding a new variable now, and I got you. And this, I find it kind of interesting, and
Yeah.
I'm just trying
Which-
to
why
get
I
people to help understand what you're saying.
Canada
'cause,
only has 150 water bombers. We need 1,500 or 5,000 or 10,000.
well, not every fire needs to be put out, because sometimes that nature needs the fires to burn so that nature can survive.
Well, if you want to stop it from burning up your house.
Well, then don't live in the woods. It's
That's not gonna
simple.
work. When there's more people, they move out into the woods.
There's plenty. It used to be a lot of ice. Now, not so much ice, and them trees need to burn, because there are a lot of dead trees up there in Canada.
But then you can move out into the ice and you have your igloo, but you don't got to worry about it burning down in wildfire.
You're right. So I mean, you added a complication to the equation here by saying satellite, or asteroid, or something outside of our planet, solar. And as you know, when I do the morning report over on twitch.tv/Joe Slick Live, Monday through Friday, at 8 a.m. in Arizona time, the reason I start with solar is because there appears to be some connection with our planet and the sun, whether it be.
Yeah, I just say space weather because I've found stuff where asteroids are flying by.
Well, space weather, and other people are trying to talk about the equinox that's going to happen here in September on the 21st, 22nd, and the way the Earth is close to the sun or far away from the sun, the tilt of the Earth, the activity of the sun that's happening. Also, that there's a particular satellite out there, or satellite meaning there's a piece of rocket flying through space right now. It's going to be up around Mars in October, and it's going to line up with not with Uranus, but
well, there's lots.
Earth and Merc, or Earth and Venus and Saturn, or whatever it is, in a straight line. Now, electromagnetic pulses, or
now
connections.
Now they're saying the planetary alignments cause the sun to
Correct.
That's
right.
The newest stuff.
Right.
So you got a lot of stuff going on, right?
Sure. And so these are all pieces of the puzzle. And if we can find the formula, which we haven't found it yet, but interesting discussions, to say the least.
And they're launching more new satellites too by 2030 to observe the sun and wildfires too. Canada's launching their own. I just found that out the other day.
Let me start that computer for everybody. I'll be right back. So tell them about what you mean by asteroids and stuff affecting our planet. Explain it. I'm a stupid guy. Tell me what you mean, because I want to know what you mean.
basically they think everything in the universe now that's flying, moving around, doesn't matter if it's a comet, an asteroid, whatever, it's all magnetically charged, so it has some sort of magnetic field. So when it flies near to other things that have magnetic fields like Earth, it's interacting with those and causing it to adjust. Well, if the magnetic lineaments, which is what they call them now, that they can see these with the satellites, if that's what creates the faults, that's why all this stuff is affecting it. So it's not just solar cosmic rays, it's all these other things that are happening too. Anything that has a magnetic field, if it's causing a fault to respond and either creating an earthquake or a fire or whatever it is that it's doing. And so basically, if this is what it's actually doing, climate change is a crock because you can't control it because it's due to space weather. So you can't control space weather. They may attempt to, or may attempt to knock an asteroid off course or whatever else they're trying to do. But in the simplified version of all this, you can't control any of this. You can't tax it. You can't make it do this or make it do that because it's out of your control. So you can only deal with the effects and get prepared for what the effects are and go from there. So it's wild stuff. And that's what they're actually finding with all this stuff the more you dig into it, and it's contradicting what they say. So they're saying climate change. Well, I got news for you. The climate's always changed on Earth. It always has. That's why you had ice and different periods where it was warmer or colder or whatever. And it all depends on what the volcanoes do, or if an asteroid or a space rock comes in and hits. I got news for you. You can't tax that. It's not going to work. Carbon tax is not going to solve any of these issues.
No.
So, and this is why all this stuff is just it's just somebody making up some crap saying everybody should do this when in reality you're not in control of any of it.
Well, there's a reason why they're called the left.
Yeah.
They get left behind.
I'm not even saying left because there's some other people that would be.
Those are greedy. Those are greedy bastards on the right, but they
like
belong on the left. Those are fake. We call them rhinos.
Yeah.
they're not really.
Like the farther you go into all this, it should prove to you that we're all stupid, and it's a miracle we're even alive.
Well, that's why I like to. That's why I like to discuss this crap with you, man. So I find it interesting.
Because of all the things that could happen to make it so we're not here. Yeah, we're still here.
The number one thing that has wiped life out multiple times has been one thing: volcanoes.
Well, that's what they say, yeah. But I don't know. If it wiped everything out, how are we still here? So there had to be somebody that survived all this stuff before.
Sure.
Or there wouldn't be anybody here. And why is there more people on the earth now than what there ever was? So it's like, even with all the stuff they're trying to do to kill everybody.
Oh yeah,
ways there's still more people.
There's so much. There's so much of this planet that nobody lives on that we're not going to run out of land. Even with the 7 billion people, 8 billion people, there's a lot of land. Look at Texas alone, man. Drive across Texas, man. It takes a couple of days to drive across Texas. Yeah, come on.
Well, and you wouldn't have any land to walk on.
Oh, you can't feed everybody. That's because you don't plant everywhere. You haven't learned how to till the ground properly. No. Whatever. You don't want to. This idea that the earth can't support us, I think is a bunch of bullshit. But hey, whatever. It's me.
A cartoon about volcanoes, and he goes, "Oh, so we wouldn't have any land to walk on if it were."
Well, that's right.
And that's what he said at 4 years old.
Well, we wouldn't. Life has been wiped out by volcanoes on multiple occasions, and life has come about multiple times by volcanoes. You got to wonder, Is it the source of life? Is volcanics the source of life and death? You know, I don't know. I happen to think that we have a created being that created us, but that's my opinion.
Well, and they keep saying the other planets that have rocks are the same thing, right?
Yeah. I don't I don't believe there's anything else out there.
Now, for a
But
gas,
that's me.
then they got lots of gas. But we have lots.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not gonna,
There you go.
it's not going to destroy the environment because there's gas planets and they still exist.
Can drive you out the room though. Pull my finger.
So they're trying to control all these bad gases, but there's all these planets and they're made.
Hey, look, volcanoes expel so much poison into the air.
Well, it's not only that; it's wildfires too. Because back there a couple of years ago, just from the Quebec wildfires, they said was 20 years of us using fossil fuels. Just for that was just the smoke from the Quebec wildfires. That wasn't Alberta or anything.
Right.
The ones in the States.
Right.
So it's like, what are you talking about then? It's like whatever. How are you gonna?
Are you gonna tax a volcano that's in some country?
Yeah.
And what are you gonna do? There's a big forest fire, by a lightning strike. It hits Canada. Should we tax Canada for the smog it created?
Well, and I think the thunderstorms and the lightning come down and hit faults too. But that's a whole other.
I think they're attracted.
They follow them. And that's what
I've seen some far out plasma releases of lightning that just astound me. Not just a bolt, but a freaking bunch of plasma coming out of the skies. Like, what the? Oh my land, that was crazy.
Or a tsunami happened, and there's not too much you can do to stop it. You just
go
its way. And so this is all stuff that we have to realize it's out of our control. We may be able to figure out how it works or make preparations to get out of its way or adapt to whatever it's doing, just like all the people before.
That's what life does. Life adapts.
Right.
Life adapts. Whether we're part of life
or we don't all these things, or we wouldn't be here right now.
Correct.
Computer talks about all this stuff.
Well,
which is kind of funny because the computer's made out of all the stuff from the earth, and we're using it to all those minerals to make stuff.
This is a hard drive that is made out of sand in metal.
Yeah. So what's so funny is to me them all saying they're running on rare earths. Why there's rare earths everywhere, or otherwise we wouldn't have all this stuff.
Well, hey, Tesla's coming out with a new battery. It's made with aluminum. We don't need the other stuff anymore. There's vast amounts of aluminum here in the earth.
Oh, well, that's probably why.
So
the next then they don't.
We don't need this. What's that thing? Lithium.
Yeah.
And the battery doesn't. It doesn't burn as hot. It's not toxic, and it's not toxic. Everything's toxic, but it's not as volatile. It doesn't blow up when it puts into water. It's like, hey.
And the lithium batteries don't like cold either, because
nothing likes
out in the vehicle in the winter.
Nothing likes cold, man, except for you Canucks.
Yeah.
And a few Okies that I know. I don't like the cold, man. I'm in the heat. It's been 105, 106 here today, and I'm in the air conditioning, mind you. I'm not in the heat, but yeah. No,
like 70 here today, so that's not too bad.
70? Oh, that's pleasant. Yeah, that's very, very, very pleasant. In the mornings we have
trying to get my tube caulking out of my.
Did you get it done?
No.
Well, what are you procrastinating for, man? Get her done.
Because I went and had a nap and then I just left it downstairs. That's what I did.
Mom, you got to get the whip on this boy's ass. Come on.
So I'll
He
just
needs a whip.
I
Oh
don't
my
wanna
land. Oh my
break my
land.
blade and my good knife either.
Yeah. Well, we've talked for quite a bit. An hour and 48.
Yeah, 'cause
Hour
it's a
25 minutes.
Canadian thick plastic with the nice good stuff in it. So I don't want to break it. With the good oil sand stuff in there.
I didn't say break your doohickey. I said cut the tube in
Well, that's
half
what
and pull it off
kinda
of there.
my knife, but I don't want to break the blade.
Why?
Even
Get
though I
another
have
blade.
more than one blade, but then it's too much work to.
What the hell? Come on, dude. You just don't want to do it.
No, I just want to get a new one.
Well, okay, then go get a new one. You
I
had a
have to
chance to do it today.
Well, we never went anywhere today.
What's that?
We never went anywhere today, so we're
Well,
going.
you said you had to go shopping, man.
Yeah, well, we just scrounged up food for tonight. We had leftovers.
We had pizza and forgive me, I'm yawning like I was doing this morning. I didn't take a nap. I tried.
We have a bottle of water now because last week when we went to get it, there wasn't any. All the firemen had taken it.
Yeah, I'm on my second bottle right now. I'm killing the water right now.
Yeah, because the
But,
town water here is bad.
Yeah.
So I got to go get more water tomorrow too. Well, I guess I drink the town water in my coffee, but it's watered or not watered down, coffee down, I guess.
Oh,
I guess we never went into Camp Flagree too.
no.
We covered a lot of
I heard something. Let's see. Do I want to even get into that subject?
Well, I think it may have another blowout, but it's not going to be that big of a deal. And then it'll all calm down. Just like it did in 1538. And everybody's all freaking out now because they think it's going to be like a super mega cult eruption. When that's not what it does. It does all these little
well, yeah, in Camp Flagree, I think we'll save Camp Flagree for Saturday.
And maybe I haven't heard them say this. Maybe Vesuvius is just another part of it. Like it could all be connected down underneath.
I think it's connected, but hey, whatever.
Because it's kind of on the edge, away from it. So, like all the other gigantic calderas that around the world have volcanoes, current volcanoes that are acting out all around the edges of them. So it's probably the same thing. Now, this study didn't say anything about Vesuvius, this one that just came out Monday, but it was showing in it all the, like how the magma chamber is, how they think it is based upon all the stuff.
Yeah. Like I said, I want to do that dedicated on Saturday. We'll talk about Vesuvius.
And they actually have a diagram that shows where the previous eruptions were the last 40 years, and like where they were, like if it's underwater or on land or.
What was that?
Oh, there is some notification on my phone.
Something went ding.
I don't know what it was. Because mine makes so many dings. It's ding, ding, ding. Might have been the Facebook one. I don't know.
Oh, all right.
Or it was the Google Weather one, because I have Google Weather on the thing. So that's 14 Celsius here. It's not.
I don't know.
Cool.
I don't know what 14 Celsius means.
Well, I take it, I double it 28 and add it to 32. So 60, and then I take like a couple degrees off because the formula is, so it's probably like 58 right now outside. Because the formula is 9/5 Celsius plus 32. That's how it works. And that's the actual formula to convert Celsius to Fahrenheit. And because I'm close to the border, I switch back and forth. So I'm like a Fahrenheit Celsius translator.
Well, I thank you for it because
Yeah,
I have
and
no concept what it means.
like my parents they never said Celsius. They always said
No?
Fahrenheit. Yeah, because
Oh, that's when Europe's thing, was that
Yeah.
the metric
So,
system kicked in
yeah,
the 70s?
yeah, so it's
Yeah.
only younger people here that say Celsius.
Yeah.
So I have to speak in both languages, or otherwise they don't know what I'm talking about. Most younger people, if I said Fahrenheit, they go, "What's that?" But if I say Celsius, then they know what I mean. So I go back and forth. Plus, it's good with all the Europeans and everybody else around the world. I can speak in both languages or both.
Yeah, I have a request here in chat that I get you an angel hat.
Yeah.
Literally. Somebody said that.
Yeah, well,
They said,
but I like my Blue Jays and Maple Leafs ones the best.
what is happening here? Things come in perfect storms to come. What is it? Come on, guys, figure it out. Give us a heads up, man.
Yeah. So the heads up, there's going to be big earthquakes and wildfires and hurricanes.
Well,
big wind, because that's what they always do.
I think I'm not sure about Athens, but I think Turkey's going to go bang again. Quite possibly Crete, mid fives, maybe even a 6. And then I don't know. I think Sicily, Etna is going to fail. The face is going to fail, and it's going to come out the side. I think it's going to be catastrophic.
Going to get a 6 at least, and then Italy's going to act up, but Grimsvötn or one of the other volcanoes is going to blow up in Iceland first.
Yeah, I think Etna's going to have a catastrophic explosion.
But it usually does.
It's leaking magma out the side right now.
It usually acts up really bad and has a tsunami or big quakes after Grimsvötn.
Did you hear what I said? What's happening with Etna right now?
Yeah.
It's leaking out the side.
Yeah, I know. I saw stuff of it. But there's other places now that they're saying it's the same thing. So there's all these volcanoes now. And now, since the landslide happened in Alaska, they noticed that there's all these other cracks all over it.
Hey, 100-foot tsunami in Alaska, man.
Yeah. So the
how those guys on that island survived, I don't know how, man.
And all those fjords up there in southeast Alaska, all over the place. Now they're all freaking out because it's all going to fall down when they're going by.
The permafrost is melting. The land is resurging. It's not subsiding down with the weight of the ice anymore. It's rising up, and as it does, it splits.
Rainier now too, because it's been so warm there. It's melting the glacier and the ice, and the rocks and stuff are falling down when all this water and everything's
right. And that's the thing about Camp Flegrei, and like I said, we'll talk about that on Saturday.
Except Camp Flegrei doesn't have any ice.
No, but there's water getting into it, and if it does, then that can pose a problem. And then if there's an earthquake in conjunction with water getting into the chamber, then that's not too good, because the cap can split, and if it does split, then kaboom. I wouldn't say
anything that volcano that has ice and snow on it. Well, then you're in trouble, because you can
yes, sir. Yes, sir. And that's why a lot of people are watching Lassen. They're watching Rainier. They're also watching up in of all the Cascades. There's some fear. What is it? And the Three Sisters. There's some resurgent there, and they're like watching that. It's like, what, really? So I'm not tossed around by it too much anymore because I watch those, pretty dramatically when I see things happening. And in the morning report, I don't want to look right now. I don't know what the latest vibrations were happening in the Pacific Northwest. Interesting. Vancouver had a quake, and then now Vancouver's vibrating pretty good. So
been a bunch of quakes up around
mhm.
Haida Gwaii the last.
Right.
Not big ones, but like threes.
Well, it's moving, and I think that's important to.
But that makes sense to me
look
because
at.
it would be all adjusting from Kamchatka.
We haven't done anything with was it Bowie hotspot up there? Was that
We
north?
mentioned a little bit, but we haven't gone into.
We haven't gone into it too much
because they all match the Liniment mines. Too.
Yeah, the Fairweather fault, which is.
But we probably should do that before Nick gets into all the stuff in Alaska.
Correct.
We probably should go right on up through right from Northern California.
Well, we did all the way to Washington.
We just did the faults, but we never did like the major lists of quakes.
Yeah.
We mentioned a few, but we didn't go into because I like to go right on up through and do like the major ones.
Right into Alaska, yeah.
Washington, and then right into Alaska. And
well, we never really finished also Mexico. We didn't talk about any of the faults in Mexico. We just said, hey, this is
well, we'd be doing that a long time because there's a whole bunch of them in Mexico. We did like the blocks, but we never.
Right, we did the blocks.
Because there's so many.
We tried to do a little bit of volcanoes, and then subjects came up and it kind of tore us around.
And we got going on something else, but like I like to go the whole way up through and do like all the major quakes in BC and Washington. Like there's really only 200 years of them, so it wouldn't take that long to do. To see what was happening like those other years. Some of them we've already talked about, but we haven't covered all of them. And find out what it was doing certain years.
Right.
Like we could look at like the biggest ones on Vancouver Island, for example. And
yeah, I like.
Then go up into like Southeast Alaska and cover all. We've mentioned some of them before, but we haven't like shown.
Well, we talked about Yakutat a little bit, but I think if we talk about how it was formed, Rangelia and stuff like that, and Silesia and the last 50 million years, 100 million years, how that's all come about, and the major fault systems that go into into Alberta. So the Rocky Mountains, Canadian Rocky Mountains, and how they're formed.
More sense to me now since I've been watching all the Nick stuff.
And
then when he has somebody on talking about a particular fault and saying how much it moved,
right,
over such a period of time,
right,
and that's all making sense.
Well, they all said that it all stopped 50 million years ago. Well, no, it didn't. No. Did it start up again? Quite possibly.
Well, there probably was another fault.
What happened between 50 million years ago and now? Well,
water.
Guess what? The basin and range started.
Yeah.
That's a huge event.
Because we don't know the faults that were there before.
Correct.
But
they've all moved north into Canada and Alaska.
Because it's really the magnetic lineaments that's moving everything, and faults are just the evidence of it. That's what I think. Because how did all this stuff get moved north unless it was going along faults, which is what they're saying, but I say it's
right.
Really,
well, there's some hidden thrust faults too. Pecos, Texas just came in right now with a pretty good little banger. I'd say it's probably upper 3, low 4.
Stuff up really, but the other ones are moving things side by side and across and up or down. So there's lots of movement going on.
Right.
Like I think they get way they're getting so technical that it confuses everybody. But all you need to know is that when an earthquake happens, all it is everything moving.
You can see Pecos, Texas there, and we got Kyushu, little Smalley, Shikoku, little Smalley happening right now. This is live.
And when
Kamchatka had
people say that
a
they
little
don't get earthquakes,
5.1.
that's not really true, because it's just a matter of time until wherever it is, whatever spot on the planet you're at moves. It's only a matter of time. It may be tomorrow or next week or 200 years from now, but it's going to move wherever you are. It's just a question of when it's going to be and how much it's going to move all at once. And if you're right on top of the fault line, well, and it decides to move, good luck.
Somebody texted you there.
It's the same as the faults and fissures in Iceland. Same thing.
Well, there's a series of earthquakes right now out of Kamchatka moving all the way down into Tokyo. That's pretty interesting. We also have earthquakes that move from Burma or Myanmar all the way down into Papua New Guinea. We also have from Fiji all the way down into, basically New Zealand. Seems like the activity is starting to pick up. In addition to that, the Texas Lineament's active. And let me show you here what we mean by that. It's just strange that this is what USGS has posted right now. See, it was a series of earthquakes coming out of this one right here in Petrolia, all the way across, right? All the way down into the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. That's classic Texas Lineament, classic quake series. But they follow the plate boundaries, not always. And
no, because to me the only thing that explains the intraplate quakes is the magnetic lineaments crossing.
Magnetic lineaments, yeah.
Things and making the faults. Like once you start figuring out where all the faults are, because I've had people different things I'm in. They said, "Well, we don't have any faults here." I said, "Well, you do. You just
don't know it. You have to go and talk to the geologist and the people who are drilling in your state.
Yeah,
or where you live. They'll tell you there's faults.
Anything in your state or wherever, province or whatever, well, you have fault lines because it's where all that stuff is created is along the fault lines.
Yeah, this used to be a 5.4, is downgraded to a 5.1 in Kamchatka.
So we wouldn't even have coal or anything.
There's the 4.5 at Kamchatka as well.
Probably every river or stream or brook or
Burma
ravine or canyon is all a fault.
Well, thrust faults, regular faults, and the like. So
it's all faults are cracks in the earth crust. That's all it is, and they move.
That's all it is, and they move a specific way.
Like if I was teaching a little kid, that's what I would say. So at some point, it's going to move. It's just a question of when.
And they move a specific way. So that's what differentiates the type of faults they are. It's the movement side by side, up and down. Or both, combination of them.
And if you go walking on ice, you can see, especially when it's thin ice, it'll start.
Oh yeah, it cracks underneath your feet, but doesn't have to break the surface yet. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, like driving on it, right? He's like, whoa, it's cracking.
It's going all the way right down through the crust, and it can be at an angle or straight or whatever it decides to break.
Yeah.
So, it's wild stuff. But I believe that God's put everything, like he has it in simple form so we can see it and say, hey, look, it's doing the same thing. It's just on a way bigger scale. And that's what it's doing.
And we're looking at things that God has put in his power that he's already set in order that's going to happen. Not a damn thing we can do to change it. We can dig the earth up and make that part of it disappear, but it's still it's going to quake.
Well, we're not really even making it disappear because we're converting it into something else that we use.
Exactly. I was talking about that. I said digging a hole.
Yeah. Then it goes back to the earth as pollution or garbage, we think, but or we say, but it's actually goes back to whatever sort of form it was before and starts all over again. Same as like wildfire burning down the trees. So it's the same process.
Same. Yeah. Well, appreciate. I don't want to get too wiped out. We're already an hour and 45 into this one. I'm going to close it up on this one. Do you have anything else you want to add to the Turkey or the Greece? I know you said Athens is an area of interest for you, or Italy, or
well, Italy should go after Athens, but I also think before things get really big in Italy, you're going to need a Iceland volcano to blow up.
Well, is it an Iceland volcano going and then Etna stops?
No, it adds into it. So it makes it act up even more, and then you get the big quakes. Because every time I looked up the big quakes and tsunamis around Sicily, going back in time, there was always a long duration eruption, usually at Grimsvötn volcano.
All right.
And see, Lackey Fissure eruption in 1783-84 was part of that, because the fissure came out of near Grimsvötn. And I found out
the earthquake in Texas.
That the Lackey Fissure actually started erupting in 1737, which was the same year.
Lackey is what I call little Toby. And if you look over here,
the one that did all the craziness in 1783 and 84, and New Jersey's biggest quake was in 1783, and then before that was 1737, right after Kamchatka went off. Well, Lackey Fissure eruption was acting up then too.
Oh, you're talking up in Iceland. Okay.
Yeah. So you don't want that Lackey Fissure going off anytime up there. It's bad news for the East Coast.
Yeah.
Well, in Europe too, because that made all sorts of problems. And there was big quakes in Sicily around Etna and southern Italy in 1784 as well. And I kept going back looking, because I found an article that talked about all the big quakes and tsunamis at Sicily and southern Italy there, down at the boot. And every time Grimsvötn was acting up. And it was like a long duration eruption, like 6 months or longer. So it wasn't like just go for 2 weeks and then you get a big quake. It was like long duration, and then you had all sorts of issues. Well, it's kind of like what's been happening now with the long duration eruption at Svartsengi, because it starts and stops. But when I look back at the ones in the past at Grimsvötn, they had times when they went up and down, but they were like pretty much continuous for like 6 months or longer. And the longer that went on, the intensity of the quakes built up on either side of the Mid-Atlantic Ridge.
Well, interesting how volcanoes release pressure.
But I imagine there was probably space weather going on at the same time too, in order to make the volcanoes act up in the first place.
Yeah, what you don't want the cart before the horse. Wonder which starts it all.
Well, I wonder if what the Earth does is the same thing as like what the sunspots on the sun do, where it comes up from down below and tries to go to the surface, same as like what our man.
Are you saying maybe a sunspot's like a long earthquake on the sun?
Well, it doesn't have
a long epicenter.
Yeah.
Well, they don't know what the crust looks like of the sun. It may not be. Just be molten.
Yeah, they sort of do. They figured it out a little ways in, but not.
Because if it's all molten plasma, there's no cooling. The reason we have crust that we live on and that we're part of is because our planet has cooled.
Because now the latest stuff is that Atlas is flying by and making it pull the plasma filament.
Yeah.
Well, that's Vern saying that, but I don't know.
I'm not going to say that guy's name, but I think he's interesting in some things.
Radical That's some crazy.
I don't think he's
He may not be
any
wrong.
more radical than the things that we've said, but
Yeah.
you know, he thinks outside the box too.
Yeah.
But sometimes
Well,
he puts himself in a box.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Yeah, well, as long as he's in there with his tuning forks, he'll be all right. When he lets the box. Unless it's a metal box, I don't know how that would work when you did your tuning forks. It would probably keep going around and bouncing around. You'd be all
well, everything has a frequency, right?
Yeah.
The Earth has a frequency.
Resonating. I don't know
Uh-oh.
what it make you do, but
Well, I
Yeah.
appreciate you, bud. It's an hour and 50 minutes in. I think that's
except
good
for the
enough.
Schumann, it's Showman resonance.
Yeah, we got and a showman residence, huh? All right.
Yeah, the Showman resonance is
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. All right. Hey, appreciate you. Love you. Have a good rest of your night. Look forward to talking to you about Campy Flagry on Saturday. And I got to make sure I get
Oh,
some
wait a
sleep.
minute! I won't be here Saturday. I got to babysit the.
All right.
kid.
Well, we're gonna pre-record it anyway.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so not worries.
Yeah, we'll have to.
Yeah, we'll do it on like Friday morning or something. But I'm interested in doing that one. But yeah, take care of yourself. Don't get none on you, and love y'all.
All right. Good
All
night.
right, good night, bud. All right, buddy. Again, Saturday, normal time. I'll post it here on YouTube and on Rumble. That's where the rabbit hole is. It's always been. And appreciate y'all for being here. Thank you for your tips, your subscriptions. You can figure that out at the top of the screen there. And you can find me also on twitch.tv/Joe Slick Live for the morning report. The morning show will be expanded soon enough, but don't forget, life's tough. Don't get none on you. Good night, everybody.